Second morning. This is our breakfast. Very basic congee, eggs and noodles. The advantage of being in the middle of nowhere is that you always get a beautiful sunrise, despite the hotel being not very good up to our Western standards. I had a really good night's sleep, and look at the sunrise. Absolutely beautiful. See, this place used to be just very rural villages, and because of the tourist industry, everything's built up now. Now there's two ladies coming across that are locals. You can see the distinctive features of the ethnic minority that is up here. That, I guess, used to be the villagers now. And the doubters that say there is no poverty alleviation program, those houses there used to be probably very small houses with no electricity, no water, no sewage. And now look, they all own houses at least 3 stories high in this beautiful backdrop. And the locals come up here to sell their fruit before the tourists sets out on their buses. I asked the locals how this came about, or this development, and this is due to the spiritual fairy park and the 3 natural bridges park. So all this has popped up. All these used to be local houses, and the government subsidized them to build better houses, electricity, water, sewage system, and in turn, some of them, this is the town center, and the hotels were popping up everywhere. And before anyone says about the graffiti, they actually invite you with a spray can to spray things onto this container, which is a children's playground behind it. The car and the bike culture is everywhere. I haven't seen one of these Subaru Impressas for such a long time. And this is like a little observation deck with coffee shops and snacks for the evening, and some supermarkets dotted around. Observation deck for everyone to take photographs. Again, for people that live in a city, they do find it fascinating when they come to the villages, and it contributes towards their economy. People ask me, how do the government do all this? And this is partly how they do it, is to develop very high, very inaccessible rural areas and make them into tourist spots. Chinese people love tourism. It doesn't matter if it's yesterday, the spiritual fairy park, to us is very, very normal, countryside, valley, some animals. But to the people that live in Chongqing, millions, tens of millions of people living in the concrete jungle. Shanghai, 31 million people. And that's just Wuhan and all these places, major big cities that's above 25 million people in population. When they do come to these places, they do appreciate their ancestry, the struggles of the Chinese people, how they became what they are now, that there is no extreme poverty. Extreme poverty, I mean no jobs, no food, no electricity, no water. When I say there's no extreme poverty, of course they are poor people, but everybody still gets by. They still have a roof over their heads. They still have running water, electricity, the basic needs for survival. They still have all that. There is no, even here, I don't see one homeless person, one beggar. So it's so easy to beg in tourist areas. We went out for a little walk at night, not very far, because of all the mosquitoes, and I attract mosquitoes so much. Um, they don't have homeless people and beggars here. Everyone, even if they're just trying to sell you an orange or a bunch of bananas on the roadside, they're selling, they're not begging. Um, so that's my point, that everybody tries because they don't just give up. And the states, the government helps them with all this. I have to take my hat off to our tour guide because he does try. He does not shut up. It was about a 2.5, 3 hour drive to our lunch break, and he did not shut up for 1 second while I was enjoying the scenery because I don't understand Mandarin. Now I'm trying to point out these electric pylons. We are 1,900 meters up above sea level. Imagine the work that has to be taken out to do all these electric pylons, to bring electricity to all these rural areas. I mean, how much work is involved there alone by the Chinese government? Chongqing is not just full of bridges, it's actually tunnels and tunnels and tunnels, because it's such a mountainous area to get to these areas. Now, can you imagine how much work that involves, making all these tunnels and roads that go through these mountains to get to these rural areas? How much money it costs the government to do this? Look, it's just tunnels and tunnels and tunnels. And when you exit the tunnel, you're not actually on the road. It's actually a bridge on the edge of the mountain. I think if you look to your left, you'll see what I mean right there. So we've exited one tunnel. We're going over a valley, and it's a bridge actually. It's not a road that we're on. And then we enter another tunnel. I think I checked, there was over 1,600 tunnels in Chongqing. Now we're exiting on the toll booth, and look, more bridges. We are about to board a boat for this river cruise. If any of the audience are wondering why everything is red in China, red symbolizes luck, hence most things are red, especially in tourist attraction places. So this is very typical of China, Chongqing, where two rivers meet. So you have one side of the river, one color, and the other side of the river, another color. And this is where they meet. Behind Raffles City in Chongqing City is exactly this point, probably one of the most famous points in Chongqing. Hence why the Raffles City apartments and hotels are so expensive, because that is considered the most prized location in Chongqing. This side of the river is noticeably greener than the other side of the river. The water this side is green, and the other side is brown. And that's the point where they both meet. You see, that side is the residue of the browner side of the river meeting. This cruise is going to take about an hour, which is included in our package. China flag. Look at this tunnel and the bridge that leads out of the mountain. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. So during the cruise, they put on a show of this very, very classical Bian dance, where the performer changes his face, and this is ancient way of wearing off the spirits. The music was very loud, so I had to cut off the music and dub over it, but Trinity took a clip of it. The show was actually still going on, but it was so noisy. We decided to leave and just enjoy the scenery. This river we're on is called Wujiang, and it's absolutely beautiful. I'm not one that keen on cruises at all, but this scenery is stunning. If you look behind the town, you see another bridge. Imagine this disruption it caused when they were building that bridge, but I guess it's all worth it. More locals waiting for us to disembark, selling us fruit and some local sweets and drinks. And as soon as we got back on the bus, the tour guide is off again. I think when I close my eyes tonight, I'm going to hear his voice.
在妈妈肚子里面的8个月、9个月、10个月，其实我们每个人都亏欠我们的父母那8个月、9个月、10个月的房租。关于母亲，我们等会儿去的地方呢叫做蚩尤九黎城。蚩尤九黎城呢，现在我们看不到了，拿来变卖，用来补贴家用。但是这个阿婆在她84岁的一天，就是天刚刚黑、快黑的时候呢，就拉着她的傻儿子，她在他们那个村子。 寨子里边，挨家挨户的敲门，挨家挨户的敲门，挨家挨户的敲门，门一敲开就拉着您的手。其实这个阿婆也很长寿哦，她活了8。
We are currently in an ethnic minority group called Miao in Chongqing. There are 40 ethnic minority groups in Chongqing alone. I don't know the intervals of these festivals, where the guys, eligible bachelors, and the ladies come out. If the girl likes you, they'll step on your heel, step on your toes. And if the guys like the ladies, you pull on their dress. That's an indication that you like them. And if the girl likes you, they will give you a silver necklace. If they don't like you, they will politely give you a red scarf, just to politely say no. That's an improvement. This is our lunch stop for the second day. And this is the view. Very, very nice plush restaurant today. These two individuals on the right are the challenging individuals that I will be mentioning at the end of the vlog. We finished lunch. That was quite yummy actually. And I didn't notice this when we came in, that 2/3 of the car park has chargers on them. And this is again right outside Chongqing City, probably about 2 hours drive, still in the middle of nowhere. Mountains and mountains. Excuse the sun protection, but the tour guide said it's going to be about a 2-hour walk in the sun, no shade, and I don't really want to get burnt today. Here is an old temple which they reconstructed. Exactly the size, exactly the same. Again, for tourism. I have no idea what the name of this place is, but I will get the name afterwards. No idea what we're looking at, and it is very hot today. It's about 34 degrees last time I checked. Let's check how many steps we do here. We're given an earpiece each, so we can hear the tour guide as we go along. But it doesn't do me any use because I only have limited Mandarin. But hey, better than nothing. There's 9 doors we have to go through, and I really hope it's not steps every time. It's very hot, sorry. Legend has it that this creature, which resembles a panda, is a spiritual creature that eats stone and metal comes out the other end. The significance of it, I have no idea, but that was the story that was told. This little display tunnel shows the history of the Miao people. This is the home place of the Miao ethnic minority. Every 18th of April, they all come back and gather here to celebrate their ancestry. Here they're replicating a typical wedding of the Miao people. This is when you used to get married. The bride goes into that and gets carried around to celebrate the wedding. And yes, the bride is still inside that carriage while they are swinging it. It looks fun, but not much fun for the bride, I guess. We were advised not to take any photographs or videos inside this building because this is sacred ground, but there's a lot of history inside regarding this Miao ethnic minority. You notice that there's dragons on the structure. The gold dragon represents the Han people, which is the majority of the people in China, and the white dragon represents the Miao ethnic minority, and also there's other ethnic minorities. It's just a symbol that we coexist peacefully. This just shows the Chinese mentality, even years, hundreds, thousands of years ago. They believe in peace and coexistence. If you notice the architecture, there's no nails holding on to the structure. You see, there's no nails, no metal or anything. This is the typical Miao It's costume. They call it costume now, but this is what they used to wear in the olden days. Now you see the headgear here. If it's a semicircle, it means they have one son. And you see some of them have birds on top. It means it's a girl. They have girls. And the one with the pink flowers are the ones that are engaged. And the ones that have red flowers are the ones that have been married. So this headgear indicates how many children they have. As I was saying, the lady's headgear that has a bird on top indicates that they have a daughter. So if they have multiple birds on top, they have a few daughters. And if they have the semicircle and the bird, it means that they have both daughter and son. And why so much silver on their clothing? During the war, they couldn't carry the silver because that was the money. So what they did is they flattened it as much as they could and spread it out onto their clothes. Therefore, it would be a lot easier to carry while you're fleeing from the conflict. So hence, this is why there's so much silver on their clothing. In Miao culture, the boy can take a family at the age of 13 and the girl can get married as soon as they reach menstruation, if I pronounced that word right. I'm sorry if I didn't, but I think you know what I'm talking about. And no disrespect to the people here, but of course they're going to bring you into a silver shop. They just demonstrated to you how the silver's made here, and they're selling the ladies silver. And finally, after the silver shop, the tour guide has finally shut up and he sat down. And we're going through more tunnels. This is our final night's meal, Chongqing hot pot, as we will be disbanding after lunch tomorrow. But there will be a very disastrous ending to this hot pot if you listen to the end of the vlog. We just reached our hotel for the final night, and the haters gonna love this. Look at this, it's grey, it's raining, and I have no idea what that reads, but it has a communist symbol on it. Look at this. Doesn't this look like a camp of some sort? But actually, it's a medical school there. And if they're they're coming from outside Chongqing, the hotel attached to it is where all the students go. So this is a medical school. But haters gonna love this. Rain, grey, communist symbol. This is the entrance to the hotel. Can you imagine how they can spin this? Third and final night hotel.
Ready?
It's an old style hotel, but it's clean, and that's the most important thing. A very interesting thing happened at dinner. during the hot pot. Well, right at the beginning of the hot pot, which resulted in me and Trinity and a few others just leaving the table. Now, there was 18 people on the tour, and there were two challenging individuals, let's say. Well, actually more than two, but these two stood out. And there was another elderly lady who was putting food into the hot pot, and she coughed a few times, but she turned her head away from the hot pot on the table while she was coughing. But she was in the middle of actually putting some food in the hot pot, and she couldn't leave because if she left, then she left her food that she put in the hot pot floating around, and someone else would take it. They weren't much food anyway because you wouldn't expect it. But what happened was the argument flared up from the challenging couple's mum to the lady that was coughing, but she was coughing very politely actually. And then after the argument flared up, the daughter of the challenging couple stood up and deliberately coughed into the pot, the hot pot, and pretended to spit in the hot pot. So yes, you know, there's 1.4 billion Chinese people, and you're going to get some very, very mental cases, as I would put it. I don't like confrontation, and I didn't want to see the argument that would flare up afterwards because I could hear it while I was leaving the restaurant. So I just whispered to Trinity, let's get up and go, because I didn't really want the hot pot anyway. To share a hot pot with people that you don't know is really odd because you're swishing your chopsticks around. Even if you use a communal chopsticks and then you have your private chopsticks, is a very, I find having a hot pot is a very private affair. But to share it with people you don't know is very difficult in my eyes. So it was brilliant because I didn't want to be there anyway, but it was really cool to watch some challenging individual to behave that way. She was probably in her early 20s. I think in her mind, she's defending her mum during the argument by mocking the other person coughing into the hot pot and then spitting. China for you. If you made it this far of the vlog, I thank you very much. And Trinity, stop. I should have filmed it, but I didn't want the argument to come towards me. But that would have been made a really brilliant vlog if we filmed what actually happened. But if you've made it this far, I thank you very much. Tomorrow's our last day. Tomorrow's just a shopping trip because that's how these tour guides make their money. They have a very low basic wage. They take you to these, what they think is an attractive product for the local Chongqing culture. And that's how they make money. I appreciate that's how they make money because they get a very low wage. This particular tour guide was actually a very successful businessman, but during COVID, he lost a lot of his businesses. So hats off to this fella. Just carry on, keep going, you know. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing, comment, share, and like. Thank you very much.